Hello everybody and welcome back to the first tutorial of actually coding our keylogger. Now don't worry, this will be a rather shorter program than our reverse shell and server, as there is only a few things we need to do, such as actually processing the keys, then writing those keys to a file, and also just doing a little bit of changes to the keys here and there. But before we do anything, let us download the library that we will need for this, both for our Kali Linux Python and for our Installer Python. Or pardon me, for our Wine Python, because then later on we will forget to do that and then we will need to compile multiple times. So let us do it right at the beginning. If you just go open up your Python and try to import pynput.keyboard, you will see there is no module named pynput.keyboard, but this is an actual module or library that we need to use for our keylogger. So let me just exit this and install it with pip install and then pynput.keyboard. This is us first installing it for our Kali Linux Python 2, and then we will install it for our PyInstaller, Python 2. So collecting pynput.keyboard. Now what this module or library allows us to do is use a function which is the listener function, which will listen for the input keys from the target keyboard. Now let me see, could not find a version that satisfies the requirements pynput.keyboard. So let us just try with the pynput without .keyboard. Maybe that will work. Not really sure, can't really remember how I downloaded this, but we will get it to work, don't worry. So collecting pynput right now. This should finish any moment. This is not a big library. And here it is. It downloaded some things and right now we have the pynput installed. So if I open Python 2 and try to input pynput.keyboard, which is a module that we want to use because we are only focusing at the keyboard at the moment. Okay, so here it is installed. And let us now also install it for the actual PyInstaller. So we'll use the same command as before for installing libraries. So wine/root/.wine. Drive C, I believe, then Python 27, scripts, PyInstaller, and then we want to, or pardon me, not PyInstaller, we don't want to use Python 27, we want to use python.exe, since we are installing the library, not compiling anything, then -m for the actual installing of a library, and then pip install, and then the name of the library itself, which is pynput. So right now, once we finish this, we're good to go and we can create or start creating our keylogger. First of all, we will see how we can actually capture those keystrokes and how we can print them to the screen. Okay, so it has finished right here. We are good to go right now. So let us actually first of all delete from the previous compilation everything, and we will code our keylogger in the exact same directory as our current reverse shell and server. Since we will need it to compile, so there is not really a point in making a certain directory for that, so let us just create it right here. But before we actually start coding anything, let us see how we can do it in simple Python interpreter. So in order to create a listener, it is rather simple. Right after importing the actual pynput.keyboard, we can with one line create a keyboard listener. So let's call it keyboard_listener. It will equal to pynput.keyboard, and then we will use an actual function listener, which needs to take an actual input of an argument or of an actual function that we will use to process the keys. So it is specified like this, on_press, which means right after you press the key, it will process it with process keys function. For example, let's say that is how we call it. If you just press here enter, let me just see, process keys is not defined. Yeah, of course. First of all, we need to simply just code the actual function itself. So let's call it def process_keys. That function will take an argument of actual key. So we are parsing the key that is pressed on the keyboard to this function, and all we want to do is print that key for now on. So our function is right here. We can then just use this same right here. So we created a keyboard listener we use the listener method on it, and we use the onPress to be processed with the process keys function. So let's press here enter, And all we need to do is run something like this, so with keyboard underscore listener, similar to opening files, and then keyboard underscore listener dot join. It is similar to, and this one is similar to joining threads, and then if you press here enter, and enter once again, you can see we no longer get the interpreter back. It seems to just hang. Now that is because this right here is now waiting for an input from our keyboard. For example, if I just type here S, you can see it prints S. It prints, in just typing anything right here, it will print bunch of letters, but you will also see this U letter right here. Now that U letter right here is basically because of us actually using the encoding of these letters, or basically it encodes these letters, and this really looks ugly to look at, so there are a few things that we need to fix in order for this to work properly. So, but for now on, we saw how we can simply create a keyboard listener, and we saw how we can download the actual library that we need, and in the next tutorial, we will start off by actually fixing our keylogger and getting it to work. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.